Welcome to the Your Petty Friend podcast with me, your petty friend Kevin and
Nicolette.
And we are here to talk about anything and everything, a little bit about us, a little bit about the world, a little bit how it all happened and why we're sitting in front of you. So we'll start with how your petty friend started, which is a really funny story. I had an ex-boyfriend who had a personal trainer at his gym that I really hated. And he was somebody who was very pretty and in incredible shape, but very dumb. And my ex-boyfriend at the time, would coordinate, arrange, schedule a lot of things for the three of us to do, whether it was go to the movies or go shopping, get massages, go out to eat, regardless of what it was. My ex-boyfriend was always planning it. Long story short, we decided to get massages over in Studio City on Ventura. And after we went across the street to grab food at like a bar, arcade, restaurant type sitch. And we had sat outside at the one table that they have outside. But because we sat outside, the hostess inside did not see us sit on this outside table. Does that make sense? And we all sat down and nobody was coming because nobody knew that we were out there. And I had kindly asked his personal trainer, I said, can you be a doll and go get the waitress? And he snapped at me and he said, I'm not going to be a doll and I'm not going to go get the waitress. And that's when I absolutely fucking lost it. And I have a quick mouth, I have a fast tongue, and when I'm really angry, it gets even worse. And so, went on a little bit of a rant to him, about him, and long story short, someone got the waitress. That wasn't me or my ex-boyfriend. But I was so angry at that situation that I went home, took a shower, and in the shower, I was shampooing my hair, and the idea of, if I'm petty, there must be other people that are petty out there. And that's where, like a lightning bolt into my brain, your petty friend was born. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
I have hoodies, I have t-shirts that I love, I absolutely love and adore, and I'm very proud of them. But fun fact, my ex-boyfriend, the one that I'm referring to, was not very supportive because he actually thought it was about him.
But it wasn't about him.
It wasn't about him at all, and I had to explain it to him, like, this is about your now ex-personal trainer. But he did not want to wear the hoodies, and he did not want to wear the t-shirts because he thought it was about him. He thought it was like me punking him.
But he eventually started wearing the t-shirts.
He wears them now.
Yeah.
Or he started to wear them, and I'm pretty sure he still wears them now, and that means a lot, because even after we've broken up, he still likes the brand and still supports it, so that touches my heart, my little black heart a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice for me to
yeah,
hear
and
too.
Nicolette wears it all the time, I wear it all the time, I'm not wearing it now, funny enough, but people love it, it's easily recognizable, it's a conversation piece, it's a great way, like at the grocery store, or like if you're out and about shopping, people are like, I love your hoodie. And it's a great, compliment.
Yeah, it's a nice conversation starter.
It's a great icebreaker,
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed, in me and my amazing social skills. It's helpful to have a way in with somebody that you don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go into my involvement.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Duh.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm mostly the designer.
Yep.
And
the creative brain behind the whole brand.
The creative, and in the sense of more the visual aspect of it. I input a lot in the strategy and the thought behind it too. But I think for me, it's always been my intention of like branding Your Petty Friend was to make it more high fashion, more in line with this chic aesthetic.
The chicest.
The chicest. But trying to make it more in a playful kind of
right.
ironic kind of way.
Right.
So that's what I've been trying to bring to the brand in my own way.
And
It's
Nicolette
been really
takes care of the logos,
Yeah.
which I can be a real pain in the ass about, as simple as they are. Artwork assets, social media assets,
Yeah.
that is all Nicolette. So I would be unable to bring any of this to life out of my brain without her.
Appreciate that.
So let's get into how we became friends.
Okay.
I'll let you lead this one.
Okay. So when I first met you, I remember opening the door for you and you came in. I just remember instantly seeing your big smile.
I was really nervous.
Yeah.
It was for my interview.
Yeah, for your interview.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I led you to the office, sat you down, and your interview was maybe, I want to say 10 minutes. And
in that big office.
Yeah, and she hired you like on the spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I tell that story really quickly?
Yeah.
So, I was really nervous because this was like looking back, like it was a pretty big, not what am I saying,
it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal for us youngins who were trying to find our footing in a very hard industry to get into on your own. So I was very nervous because the magnitude of who our old boss was, who her clients were, just the whole industry, the idealist, it was a huge opportunity is what I'm trying to say. And got to her house because that's where we worked out of eventually, but my interview was also there. And I come in, you open the door, and I could tell it was kind of like it felt like you heard the doorbell ring, so you went to answer it.
Yeah.
But like you weren't expecting anybody.
I was expecting someone else to get it. Again, we were living in a house, but it was also supposed to be like an office setting,
right.
And there was like someone there that would normally open the door, but they weren't around.
Right.
So I was just like, I guess I'm opening the door.
Okay.
So like guided you into the office, and my first impression was
like nerdy.
Yeah, not necessarily excited. Like, oh, he's so happy, and like
that excitement disappeared.
Right.
For sure.
I mean, it was a difficult work situation. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
And got exposed to a lot, and so we definitely grew a lot from that experience. But yeah, I think my first impression of you was a little, I want to say, naive. It's like
that's a good.
Yeah, I think it's my thoughts were more like, let's just wait.
Yeah. So I get into my interview in her office in this house, and back then she smoked. Remember this? So she lights up a cigarette
in her own home.
In my interview, and doesn't sit down. She's like walking around, and she's like, smoking her cigarette. And we're talking, and 5 minutes in, she like stops, looks dead at me, and she goes, "Are you gay?" And I look at her and I just go, "No." And she goes, "You're not?" And I was like, "No, I am." And she was like, "Oh, I love gay people. They're so organized. You guys are the best. You're hired."
Okay, to be fair,
she loved gay people.
When you were coming in, there were
other
two people. There were other candidates.
Yeah.
But two people were leaving. They were both gay men, and I think she was a bit wanting to
nostalgic.
Yeah.
And wanted to. Sure.
She definitely wanted to replace that energy because I just think it made her more comfortable.
Yeah.
And we were all a group of women. Like we were.
That is true.
At that time, so I think for her it was more trying to regain some sort of balance in what she wanted in the work situation. Yeah, work situation. So I think that was kind of why she clicked with you so instantaneously, at least in the beginning.
The one time being gay worked for me. Okay. I'll take it.
So, yeah, I mean, we have a couple stories we won't get it too into.
That was a funny one. Because looking back, I was like, that is so illegal. They got me my job, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was good. It was, I mean, it's a good story now.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember being asked about it after I got the job. Like, did she ask if you were gay? And I was like, yeah, she absolutely did. And I didn't think anything of it until a year after. I was like, that is kind of weird.
I think she's British.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is over there, and I think it was also part of her humor. She just had a bit of a different sense of humor, and it's not necessarily, if you don't, it takes a while to get used to,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's how we came. Well, long story short, I got the job.
You did.
Right, I got the job and then started working with Nicolette. Mm-hmm. And Nicolette was also the creative.
I was...
Like, you were the graphic designer.
I was the graphic designer. So my position, when I got in there, I was the junior designer, and the creative director had already been working for her like 6 to 8 years at that point, David.
Oh, I never met him.
Yeah, no, he was on the UK.
Oh, that's why.
He worked for her for many years, and then 6 months into me working there, he decided to go freelance, which basically meant he was leaving the company.
Right.
And I pretty much absorbed, I want to say, like 80% of his responsibilities, mm-hmm. and I was hired on as a junior. So I very much went from being like the junior designer to the main designer.
Yeah. Constant.
I would still reach out to him for help because it was a lot. It was a bit overwhelming a lot of the times. And he also did things that I just didn't know how to do. So we still needed him. He was a great mentor during that time, and our boss, she had a lot of confidence in me. I'll give her that. Probably more so than she should have.
I would co-sign on that.
Yeah.
Because you did everything.
I did a lot.
Well, she did all the assets, all the one sheets.
Yeah.
And I remember how important those one sheets were.
Yeah.
And a one sheet, for those of you who don't know, is a one sheet that has artist, logo, current up-to-date social media stats, hit number ones, what's upcoming tour events. But it was a way to quickly send promoters, mm-hmm. whether it's club promoters or festival promoters, information about the artist because you want them to book who you're managing.
Yeah.
Fair?
Fair.
Yeah.
But there was more to it. I was put in charge of the websites to some degree. I was involved in those conversations. I was involved in conversations when it came to the music videos, and all of this stuff is...
And the treatments. Oh my God, I remember those.
I just did whatever she wanted me to do.
Right.
And a lot of it was, she would come up with an idea and I would put the visuals behind it. So I was more her assistant in some aspects and when it came to the creative side of it.
Right.
But yeah, it was a lot. I learned a lot. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
It was a live fast, die young type of job.
It was.
For sure.
And it was only, for me, it was 2 years. For you, it was a year.
Yeah. That's all I needed.
The first year was, that was when I was kind of adjusting into that role. The second year was more so when I was more confident in it, but I knew that I was still a little bit out of my depth. But,
I fell out of my league, for sure. I don't know if you could tell at the time, but I was nervous.
Yeah.
But
I could tell, but
I was getting. It was
some people could
a lot of getting yelled at. It was a lot of getting yelled at, which to this day I can still remember some of the emails that I would get sent, and I saved them as a I'm not this dumb anymore.
Fair enough.
I just read one the other day because my where I work now, one of the people that I work for is also British.
Okay.
And I was very triggered when I met him. I was like, if you're like that other one, this isn't gonna work. But he's the complete opposite. He's super sweet and always says thank you.
I didn't have a bad relationship.
Yeah, you
I think
really always nice. Always pleasantries. I feel like she was always looking out for you and always, allowing you to go to certain, I never got to go to anything.
Yeah, she definitely spoiled me in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
But I
But
think
you're also great at what you did, though.
yeah, I think for her, she'd never worked with a female creative
It was always
or
men.
woman. Yeah, it was always all of her clients were men. All of the creative directors that she worked with were men.
Yeah.
So I think she kind of felt for me.
Which, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
I will always have, like, I'll take the sympathy or empathy, whichever one it is.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I will take it. I will take it.
So,
but you did really well. I loved working with you. It's something that I missed, but then we've continued to work together after.
We work on this brand together a lot, and then, you know, I have my own projects that you've helped me with too.
Yeah.
So
it goes back and forth.
Yeah,
but we've maintained our friendship professionally and personally.
Yeah.
Through all these years. And
I think that's very rare. It's that we're able to kind of mix business and friendship.
Yeah.
Because I've tried in the past with other people.
Sometimes it doesn't always work.
It does not always work.
Well, I always say when you suffer together, the way that we did, we're trauma bonded for the rest of life.
Yeah, I think the trauma bond aspect of it, it's a
little.
That. My past trauma bonds have not survived, but this one has. So that's nice.
We haven't been that traumatized since then. We're very nice to each other.
I think we have made a point of being each other's safe space.
Yeah. When it comes to absolutely everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's...
You're one of the few people that know the most about me.
Same.
Yeah. And even people who are, I would consider close, don't know as much about me as I would say you do. Because there's like levels to my friendship, but you're like Dante's Inferno. You're at the very bottom in the depths of hell with me.
Yeah. Same. I've definitely gone through a lot, and you were there.
I was always there. I'm always here to hear problems and help you fix them, or not fix them at all. Yeah. I'm also good at doing
just
that too.
Just let me cry.
Yeah, let's just cry. The answer will come sometime at some point. It's not going to come from me today, but I'm happy to listen. I just need you to hear me cry. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I just cry. Yeah. And that's okay.
It's okay.
We figure it out. We like pick ourselves up and move forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a really ugly way.
And then there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of fun aspects to this. I don't think I would ever try it. I've thought about podcasting before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever start something like this with anyone else.
I know. Same. I thought about it, and it just feels very comfortable, the two of us. Because we do this all the time.
A little bit too comfortable. Like, maybe we should hold off a little bit because we are so comfortable together, but at the same time...
No, let's blow the lid off the thing.
That's one way to go. Little by little. But yeah, that's
that's a perfect segue into Black Cat Energy.
Yeah.
Which has become very popular in the last 2 to 3 months. I've never heard of this term in my life. I have been called this term several times in the last few months by several different people that I work with and that I don't work with. Like, oh, you give off Black Cat Energy, and I'm like, I get what you're saying, but like, leave me alone. I
have a little bit of a different experience with it. I thought it was more of a queer lesbian thing, because that's how I got introduced to it. I think I don't know if this is, started in the lesbian community and it's kind of become more popular, but that's how I got introduced to it. That there's always a lot of lesbian couples are like golden retriever and black cat.
Okay, where did you get this from? Huh? This golden retriever shit.
I think it's that's the opposite of like the black cat energy person. It's like
it's like the yin and the yang.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Black cat and golden retriever.
Yeah, because when you think of a black cat, it's like a moody animal that yeah.
Yeah.
And you think of a golden retriever, the friendliest dog, great with everybody, wants to be loved by everybody, is super hyperactive and energetic and that sort of thing. And I definitely, I haven't been in a relationship like that, but I definitely have friendships that are like that. And so when this became more of a thing in terms of just everyday relationships, I think that's kind of when it crossed over from that from that community to like the more gen pop community. I don't know. That's just my theory. But yeah, so I think we're both very black cat energy.
I was gonna say, but two black cats can get along.
Yeah. And I have a lot of introverted friends too that kind of give off the same vibe. You know, not every friendship needs to have a yin and yang. Sometimes you can just have two moody people.
Two wrongs do make a right.
Two wrongs make a right.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and that could be an interesting combination. I don't think it always works, but it works for us. So yeah, that's nice. I think what we both understand is that we are both
ready to watch the world burn. No.
We're both particular about who we let into our lives, is what I was going to say. I'm not the type of person that needs to be liked by everybody, and I almost get enjoyment out of it when I know that someone doesn't like me, which is terrible.
I don't have that.
Okay.
Where like you understand that there's a challenge in front of you and you have the advantage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't like you. And that's it. And we're gonna leave it at that. Yeah. I'm also very okay being the villain. The older I get, the more that I understand that I can play this role and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you're better at that than I am.
Yeah. Because I can present mean and then you pull back the layers and guess what? Still fucking mean. Or I don't cower to my meanness.
And I don't think I'm mean.
No, you're not mean.
I think I come off as very mean.
I think quiet people get categorized as mean, which I don't think is fair or correct. But if you're not outwardly nice, people take it as mean.
I've gotten stuck up, bit of a snob.
Intimidating. Yeah, cold.
And I'm just like, I don't think I'm any of those things. I just because I don't want to talk to you doesn't mean that I don't talk to anybody.
Right. I'm like, I'm not mean unless I have to be.
And I'm mean when I've kind of given up. If I've tried everything to be nice.
Okay.
And if I get to a point where there's just no point in me being nice to try and rectify the situation, then I'll be mean. But by that point, I've gone through a couple of steps to get to that point. And different people bring out different sides to me.
I've learned, and I've recently come to this realization, because I'm born and raised in LA, and my parents are still here. They still live in the house I grew up in. My sisters are still here. My grandparents are still here. My aunts and my uncles are still here. And they all live in a very central LA location, all 15 minutes away from each other. I'm the farthest, at 30 minutes away from everybody. But I've learned that because I grew up here and I always had someone to hang out with, whether it was a cousin, an aunt, a sister, a mom, a dad, I never had to overcome tension or someone I didn't like for the sake of having a friendship and having someone to do something with. It was very much like, oh, fuck you, I don't like you, get out. I'll never talk to you again, I don't have to. But I've learned that I'm the problem. And there's definitely better ways. There were better ways to improve social skills, and this being this way is not one of them.
Fair enough.
But as we learn, have I changed? No, but we try.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a cute thought I have.
Huh?
It's a cute thought that I have.
Of being nicer to people.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
We can try.
2024 is my year.
Okay, we can be nicer.
Nicer to strangers. That's my thing.
Yeah. My background is coming from a big family.
Yeah.
Never really being kind of the odd one out.
Black sheep.
Yeah.
That was the black cat before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Black sheep, black cat, very similar. I wanted to be liked, I just was different.
Didn't know how.
Yeah. And my family has grown to accept me.
Right, same.
But they're, very opinionated, and at this point, I used to care a lot about their opinion, and the older I get,
The less.
it's not that I care less, it's just that I just expect them to adjust.
I think for me, growing up, my family, immediate and what's not immediate? Extended, had a lot of opinions about me because I was gay. So I learned from a very early age to talk a lot of shit, talk quickly, and say to whoever's attacking you. And that trained my family to, like, if you're gonna say something to Kevin, just be careful. Just be ready, because he might come back at you with some really crazy shit. And so it kind of trained people, or Kevin's gonna do whatever he wants to do. And that still remains to this day.
I got that way during the Trump presidency.
Yeah.
That was when that came out.
Her family's red.
Yeah, my family, even though we're Mexican, a lot of people assume that a Mexican family would be, anti-Trump, but mine wasn't. Mine was very conservative. And for a lot of different reasons, but religion had a lot to do with it, and
She's also from Orange County.
oh yeah,
That doesn't help.
my family isn't this. My dad's family is from Orange County, but I don't feel like that was a huge thing. That was more of an issue like growing to school, but my family in particular, they just, it became very clear that like who I was a problem to them. So I had to learn to defend myself, learn to defend my point of view, while they were very much in the Trump camp, which was difficult.
A lot of learning.
Huh?
A lot of learning there.
Yeah, a lot of heated debates and conversations, and my family eventually realized that I'm going to speak up and talk back, and in a way that I just didn't before.
Yeah.
I would just kind of keep to myself, and I was weird and different, but I think the Trump presidency brought something out of me where I was just done. So I didn't
swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so much so that like now that I'm out and I identify as like bisexual, they kind of just leave me alone because they know.
They probably don't get it, so they're like, leave it.
Yeah, well, I think they're just like, I think they just know how I get, and if they were to bring this up to me and try to talk to me face to face,
wouldn't go well for them.
They've seen that side of me,
Yeah.
and
But that's how it kind of goes back to what I was talking about before. If I am, in my opinion, and I meant what I said, and then you come back and challenge me on it, it's still the same. I'm like, I said what I said, and that's that. And if it hurt your feelings and it's still true.
Yeah.
Do you get like people? There's so much judgmental people, and I would know. Highly critical people don't like to be criticized.
Yeah.
And when they are, and this is what I mean. I'm a highly critical person that does not like to be criticized, but when I am, I can take it. As opposed to cowarding or buckling to that pressure, where I feel like a lot of people in the Latin community do that. They talk a big game, but when it comes to playing that game, they can't do it.
True. I think depending on from my perspective, it depends on the family member.
Same.
And I just have so many to choose from, so I can't really speak for all of them, but yeah, I think It's one of those things where you just have to be truthful and vocal about your opinions, and you know, the men in my family, especially the older ones, they still have a very old school understanding of what a woman should be doing, and I break all of those molds, and it makes them very uncomfortable, and I'm okay with that.
But it's funny because these old school men, because I have some in my family, I actually have like amazing men in my family, like very respectable, you know, like tradition, but in a good way, where some of these men want a traditional woman, but like don't respect her, don't provide, don't give what they're supposed to be giving as the man of the house, and then expect all of this respect in return.
Exactly. I think, and that's not, and you know, it goes into a lot of different dynamics, but I think at least this is, in my opinion, what men want is a woman who works, and they want to control all the money that that woman makes. And they don't see that as a problem, but that's what they expect.
It's a huge problem.
It's a huge problem. And I think the women in my family were okay with that to a certain point, but then after a while, you know, whether you call it feminism or whether you just kind of,
it's really just respect.
Yeah, it's just really about respect. A lot of the older women in my family, their marriages dissolved, had a lot to do with that, because the men's expectation of, even if you're working, I still control the money, still have all the power. And that's another topic that we can talk about, but it's power dynamics in relationships, and you know, dating men and women, that comes up in very interesting ways. So trying to navigate that has been a challenge.
Yeah, that sounds rough. That sounds rough. But look, we're here to tell the tale.
Yeah.
We made it this way. We still got a lot of shit to talk to for our families, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Because there's always that one, I've learned this, there's always that one who, you know, gets up the courage to like say something slick, and you look at them and you say something so mean, yet so true and funny, and you look at them and you go, I still have it in me. I still, like, you know, it's a good test to yourself.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, my mouth still works. I can still say some slick ass shit.
Yeah.
And I walk away and I'm like, and now you're mad. Look how that works. There's always that one. There's always that one, and it's like gonna try to see if they can like get one over you, and I'm like, oh, you really want to do this now?
I still have those moments, but I've gotten to the point where I choose my battles. In my head, I'm saying everything, but for me, it's more about choosing my battles and preserving my energy, because that takes a lot too. Yeah. I'm not trying to educate every, you know.
Oh no, I'm not trying to educate anybody on anything.
But I'm not. No. Again, I'm not like trying to be demeaning towards anybody either. No. So it's a balance for sure.
If you think 2 + 2 is 5, it is. Have fun. Yeah. I'm not arguing with that.
But yeah, I can probably.
Yeah. Well, fuck those people. And moving on to what are we doing in this upcoming week? Don't say nothing.
Ooh.
Or you can say nothing. Or you can say nothing.
Why don't you go first?
I actually leave tomorrow for a 7-day Vegas work trip, which I'm only half excited about, because 7 days in Vegas is a long time in Vegas. I am no longer in my 20s, sadly. So that is I'm no longer in my early 20s. I sure as fuck don't drink like I'm in my 20s. I had 2 drinks last night and woke up with a hangover, and I'm going to Vegas for 7 days. So I probably should have practiced a little more the drinking leading up to this, but I didn't, and here we are. So Vegas, very ugly during the day, very pretty at night. I have a lot of daytime ahead of me.
I mean, that's very exciting. I think I'm going to be living vicariously through whatever you decide to
I'm
send
going
me.
for the F1 race.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah, say hi to Carlos.
I will. I'll say hi to Carlos and Daniel Ricciardo.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Heartthrob.
Yeah. And then Lewis too.
I'll let him know you said hi. Louis Ham.
Louis Ham.
We love him.
First name basis. Yeah, my week is not as exciting. I have a couple of projects to work on, and we'll see what comes from them. I can't really say more than that, but at this point, it's a freelancing, slow period for me. So I'm just looking for work at the moment.
All right. Well, we'll report back next week.
Yeah, we'll report back.
And let you know how the race goes, how being a freelancer goes.
the highs and lows of being a freelancer. Yeah. Definitely.
So we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah.
All right. Bye. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Period. Poo.